Jack is very confident that the 49ers and the Panthers are going to eventually pull off a trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. Just explain why. I mean, of course, you're not predicting or anything. You don't have sources. But what makes you feel confident that this can happen? Will happen?
No, it is kind of a prediction because I did tell you that's what I think is going to happen. I mentioned that yesterday, that in my article yesterday, that I feel like Lance is going to be here and Garoppolo's not.
Okay.
The reason for Carolina to be the destination is they know that Sam Darnold sucks.
Yes.
Right? They know they need to upgrade that position. They have pick 6 in the draft. So the way that I see this playing out is that they're going to go through the draft, and the reason that they're going to wait until Garoppolo is healthy, they're going to they're going to get some idea of how Garoppolo can actually throw in early July once he starts working out and he shows that he can throw again. And then you'll see a trade that'll come down, and it'll be for picks in 2023 because right now Carolina doesn't have anything in rounds 2, 3. I think it's at the end of round 4 or something like they go from pick 6 to like pick 120 or something like that. So I think that.
So it'll be like a conditional pick that could, like a conditional third that could become a second if he wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah, or a conditional fourth that can become a third or something like that, right? Whatever the number is, because even if the 49ers get a third round pick, because I understand the comp pick piece of it to keeping the Garoppolo here. Is that if you get the Panthers' actual third, it's a better pick than the comp pick at 3.
Got it.
2023.
That makes sense.
And so that's the only spot, right? And then the other piece, like I said, is there's the number. They have the money to bring him on right now, and then they can renegotiate with him, maybe add a year to it or whatever to lower his cap number if they want to do that, and sign their draft picks and all that. I think that the Panthers are a better team with Jimmy Garoppolo than without him, at least in 2022.
Okay, let me. That's great. I think this is great. A very interesting scenario. You laid it out very well. Let me see if I can push back a little bit or just ask some questions.
Let's go.
Do you see a scenario where Carolina has Darnold and Jimmy on the roster at the same time, spending 27 on one and 19 on the other?
The only way that I see that again is if they extend Garoppolo so that he gets his money, like kind of like the extension we've been talking about, where some folks are saying, well, he could stay with the 49ers and they can extend him and give him, that kind of. It would be somewhere along the lines of like just a small extension, drive his cap down a little bit this year. They make it up next year, the year after, and so on, so that it's not a full $40 million on those two players, because it'd be what 18 plus 25 is nearly $40 million.
Okay,
$40 million. I don't think they want to go quite that high.
The next follow-up question is: do you think Garoppolo would be agreeable to that with that team?
If he wants to be a starter, I don't think he has a lot of other options.
That's a good point. Yeah, if you don't want to go to Carolina and you don't want to, I mean, it would be one thing to say, look, I'll go to Carolina, but I'm not signing an extension here. I don't want to be here 2 years. I don't want to be here 3 years. That could be another thing. I'd rather, you know what I'm saying? I'd rather have uncertainty than to lock myself into another franchise I don't want to be.
Right. Yeah. And that's a good point as well.
Yeah.
That kind of goes back to why would, that's the question we ask when like, if I was to say, well, the 49ers could just keep him and redo his deal. Well, why would he want to do that? I mean, there's the money piece of it, but is he driven by money?
What are your options?
I don't know if I don't know if Garoppolo is quite as driven by money as we want to think, because
he's got $100 million. I don't think so. He's right. Made it clear he wants to pick his location. I think that's what if I just theorize here, I think they thought the Niners would cut him way sooner. Like, oh, they're going to want to spend. They're going to want to make a final push. They're going to want to help trade Lance. The Niners were like, oh, you guessed wrong. We're going to take this a long time. So I think they miscalculated. I think they thought they'd be a free agent by now, and he's not. And what the Niners are saying is, look, you messed up, and now we're going to shrink your options. Forget Pittsburgh. Forget any place you thought you wanted to go. They're all gone. And now the option is, start for Carolina maybe, or be backup for us or somewhere else. And we'll cut you, and we'll offer you the best deal on the market, and it'll be freaking $9 million.
Yeah.
Something like that. They'll probably lose this? No way.
I I'm not in the group that thinks that keeping Garoppolo or having Garoppolo on the roster or in the locker room is a bad thing for 2022. I think that you could have him in the locker room and still make it work. I understand. I've heard the arguments against it. I totally hear them.
Myself.
You know,
I just like thinking about a parallel universe in like 1991, 1992, where the Niners didn't trade Montana. They were like, you know what? Kansas City didn't offer us enough. I forget what they got for him, but we're holding on to him because we want to have him as Steve's backup just in case. Like, imagine how that would have went. What would have happened to the locker room? What Montana would have said? Hey, man, Jerry, you were open. Or Brent, what's up? Aren't I better? I'm just saying. I would say that.
Well, I mean, they made it through 92 with him sitting on the bench the whole year, right, or whatever. And then when you watch the Montana documentary, I don't think the 49ers could do what George Seifert did to Joe Montana, where he basically told him not to be around the building because he didn't want to have his presence screw with the team. I don't think the 49ers can do that. I think that with the way that it's written now is that you can't just ice the guy out. I think he needs to be there going through practices and everything else.
Yes. All right. Sven says, you don't think it's at all possible that you're underestimating Jimmy's professionalism if he is on the roster?
I don't think either of us are. I don't think either of us are undermining anything that has to do with Jimmy's professionalism. I don't think that either Grant or I have intimated towards that at all. I think our take is that it's the issue with Jimmy being on the roster isn't really Jimmy as much as it is the other players and the perception that they have.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they all like Jimmy Garoppolo. He's the leader of the locker room. Mm-hmm. Just ask him.